What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday night. Happy Scrim School, episode 3. We have some super cool guests this week. I'm beyond excited about this. We have the one, the only Nina, LastLadyLegend, and we have the man, N3K Jordan, also known as NoiseTank. I'm going to undeafen these two, and we're gonna say hi to everybody.
Into like PC gaming.
Hello. We are here.
Hello.
How's it going? How are you guys?
Oh, doing good. We're best friends now, so.
Oh, yeah, we were learning about each other. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's what I wanted, because we have two very unique players tonight. We have Nina, who is just absolutely filthy with your tether and all of your Tom skills. I have played against you more times than I'd like to admit, and I've lost pretty sure almost all of them. And then we have NoiseTank, who probably plays the most unique Scrim game I've ever seen. He runs Chaos Reach in Scrims.
Yeah.
With the boots, like.
No, you can't use Geomax in
no?
Scrims.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you could, we would lose a lot more.
If we could, definitely, they might come on.
All right, so let's do some introductions. Let's start with Nina, LastLadyLegend herself. Tell about yourself. Where'd you start? How'd you start? What got you into streaming? Let's go through it all.
Okay, yeah. So I've been playing Destiny since Destiny 1. I got the game, I guess, about 2 months after launch, back in the vanilla D1 days. I played really casually. Like, my brother actually had sat me down to play this because I was like coming off of injury. I had torn a ligament in my foot, so I was kind of bedridden a lot. And he had actually bought me a PS4 and Call of Duty to keep me occupied while I was bedridden. And then
That's awesome, actually.
right? Yeah, I have a great brother.
That's pretty awesome.
And then we wound up playing Destiny one day together, and like I'd never played first-person shooters, so it was just like so hard. I just got farmed. I didn't understand. Like, I oh god, it was terrible. And I played the game very casually. It was probably not until Taken King that I started to get like more into. Like, oh, okay, now we're gonna sign on like every week, and we're gonna, do raids and nightfalls, and grind out and play PvP. I was like way intimidated. People told me to stay away from PvP, so
Right.
it was pretty funny.
I feel that. I was in the same spot in D1. I was all the raids, all the sherping, and then I found PvP, and I was really bad, and I just kept going.
Exactly.
I think all of us are a bit of masochists when it comes to this game.
Yeah. I had like, I didn't like know about like Twitch and YouTube so much, so like I didn't know what loadouts and people were playing, so I just went in there like just completely kind of blind and fumbled through it, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great learning experience. It was frustrating, but great.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Mr. NoiseTank, Jordan, let's pick it up with you. Talk about yourself.
Yeah. Obviously, I am NoiseTank. Everybody knows by now. I play Chaos Reach in PvP. It's like my shtick, and I love the gun Thorn. I've loved it since the D1, and I'm happy that it's back, and I think it's the best it's ever been.
You think it's better than pre-nerf D1?
Because it's balanced, but can be just as potent, if that makes... Yeah, like, I mean, obviously, like, pre-nerf D1 Thorn is, like, the best ever, but we can't have that again, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't think anybody would like that.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
Yeah, I've been playing this game, though, since, like, I don't know, beta, alpha, whatever. The gamer flex that everybody says, bro, I'm a D1 beta vet. Yes, I've been playing this game for a long time, and I've always been into like competitive FPSs and stuff. I played like Gears of War competitively. I've come from many shooters, and I played like Halo competitively too. So when I saw Destiny, I was like, bro, space magic and a shooter, say less.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you did your little flex. I've been playing since the D1 first look alpha. I still have it
Ooh,
on my PlayStation. I looked at it the other day when
I
we were in a
I
maintenance.
gave mine
Oh wow.
away to one of my coworkers. So like I used to be a GameStop store manager, and I got an alpha code for Destiny, but I didn't own a PS4 yet. So one of my assistant managers, I like gave it to him, and I was like, "Yeah, man, here you go. Like, let me know if it's good or whatever." And then I ended up like playing the beta, and it just went
You're like,
from
I wish we
there.
did the alpha.
Yeah, I did. I was like, man. But
Yeah,
yeah, though I've been streaming only for like I don't know, a couple months. Like technically I've been affiliated for a couple years, but it was back in like Destiny 1, like when the Scrim scene was kind of popping then, and then when Destiny 2 first came out, I didn't really like the PvP and it kind of killed my vibe to stream, so I only like recently like restarted. Kind of it's like a whole revamp basically.
It's new year, new me type thing.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And it's been great, man. It's been a good time. There's so many great people that I've met just like in the community, and it's it's so good.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I know, Nina, you do carries and recos. I don't believe Noise does very
Yes.
much. Um, what got you into doing that? Was it somebody asked you and you realized you were really good at it, or you just started playing with people and it just kind of snowballed?
Yeah, kind of that. I just knew people that were streaming already and doing like trials helps on the weekends. Towards the end of D1 and stuff. So I would jump in and help out occasionally, but I was always working like two jobs, so I still put hours into this game. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't have the time to like try to sit there and grind out trials helps or anything like that. Unfortunately, it was, let's see, last February I started streaming and I just kind of went for
Okay.
it. I was finally working one job, so that was pretty nice.
And you
And
got
yeah,
partnered too pretty quick, if I remember right, which
yeah,
is
I got.
super cool.
I was extremely lucky, extremely like fortunate. I know some great trial Sherpas like like Rhythm and Jover rated
Yep.
and people,
Yep.
and I gotta throw some more names out there like Bros and Tardy that
All the
were
guys
just
I
super
hated
supportive
seeing, all the guys I hate seeing when I queued up
when you
trials.
match them. And they just like were super supportive during all of it. So yeah, I got partnered about a year, like about 10 and 11 months. So
That's amazing. That's actually, I mean,
That's
it's
awesome.
so cool to see that kind of growth. It really is, and that's one of the reasons why I have NoiseTank is his growth has been insane lately too. And usually, if I'm not lurking in your stream, I'm lurking in his, or I have tabs open for both of you. So if I'm not on
aw.
mobile, I usually that I'm pretty excited
My
to have both
man.
of you on here because definitely my PC has 3 tabs running at the same time. I have the one I'm modding for, and then I have both yours open with the sound on. So it gets a little chaotic, but I enjoy it. I
Aw.
enjoy hearing
Thank you,
it.
Ben.
You definitely deserve partner, Nina. It's the way you carry yourself when you play as well. And chat, if you guys have not checked out either of these individuals, can I get you guys to put your links in chat so we can make sure that they go hit that follow button? Because both of these individuals are absolutely incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I'm expecting you to hit partner within the next year.
I don't know about that.
I'm hoping for it.
That's like a dream, but I don't know. I don't know. I definitely like that's not even like it's not really in like my brain yet, I'm just happy that I literally like the amount of like regulars that have like become like every day, like when I go like live, and they're just like there as I go live is like even if it's like 2, 3, 4, or like 12, 15 people, I'm like, you guys stop. It means so much. Like,
Dude, it's great. Both of your communities are just incredible. They really are. They're so welcoming. They're so homey, and I know I enjoy being in there. And I wouldn't tell my stream to go check it out if I didn't. So, Noise. Let's get to you. We got Nina with the carries and how she got into it. What got you into scrims and not doing the carry side as much?
yeah, so actually like back in D1, I've always done like I've always been a part of like the scrim scene. I've just always enjoyed, like, I know this game isn't like competitive, but like I like to play it in the most competitive environment that I can. So I've always like done the face it stuff, and back then we had game battles for
Mhm.
Destiny at one point too and stuff like that. But actually, in D1, I used to do like carries with a friend of mine. We would do like trials carries and stuff. But I never wanted to be like a service streamer. I respect the hell out of anybody that's a service streamer because it takes so much patience and like just like yeah, I mean you gotta one, you gotta carry somebody, and two, like you just have to have like the patience and like the positivity to be able to like reassure those people that like no, we got this, like we're gonna do this, you know. And I get way too tilted from like if playing astronauts and stuff. So like I I mean like there's many of my friends on Twitch and you know on in and out of the game are they're service streamers, and I respect the hell out of them for that. But for me, I scrims just till I die. I love scrims, and I mean I do like PvE stuff too on stream, but a lot of the times I like to host like pickups with my viewers, and just I want to get like more people like into the scrim scene to like, but I want them to have like a positive experience. It like we have like such a there's like this stigma for the scrim scene that like there's a lot of toxicity, and there has been and there was, and it's getting absolutely better. We have a lot of newer like pillars of like the scrim community that are trying to bring like a positive environment, and I'm trying to be like one of those people. I just want people to learn. I want people to have a good time. I want them to like see the side of Destiny that like doesn't have all the extra BS in it, you know?
The auto rifle spam and mountaintops, you mean?
Yeah, just yeah. Like I mean, don't get me wrong, like there are certain like auto rifles that are like they can be competitive, but 600s and mountaintop is I'm not about it.
Right. You know, I feel that, and that's one of the reasons why we started this Scrim School ScrimCast is so that we can have so we can highlight people, highlight amazing PvP players, Nina, for example, and amazing Scrim players that are positive, that are trying to change Destiny for the better. It makes it a lot easier when we give a point of contact so that everybody can talk to each other. And that's kind of the way I am trying to build this whole thing up. And so far, we've had a lot of success on it. Just showing a lot of, we can highlight a lot of players that may not have been noticed in the directory because Scrims has such a negative connotation.
Yeah.
That, I've even noticed that. It's when I changed my title to, Scrims, I went down from 20, 30 viewers to a solid 10, but the 10 we were in there wanted to learn, wanted to see, wanted to experience. It's just got such a negative connotation from the old face it community and toxicity and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet. Yeah. All right, let's dive into the nitty gritty. So, what drew you to this game, and what keeps you playing even on the slow times? Nina,
you can go first. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna let you go first this time. uh, I don't know. It's the first game. I wasn't a gamer before this. Like I didn't have a PlayStation 3. I didn't have a PlayStation 2. I played like PlayStation 1 and what was around that time? N64, Game Boy Color, like um so this is, what got me back into it. I played this game through its, like Jordan mentioned, the rougher parts of the meta. I think the first, Trials helps I was doing was, during Trials of the Nine times, like, and it was a little slower paced and everything, and
Game.
yeah, I
Kidding.
just I like it. I love the community. I've been very fortunate in my experience into the Destiny community and gaming in general that I haven't met a lot of toxic people. I've been fortunate to meet a lot of the great members of the community, and um, I've been able to learn like more, I guess, in this game too. Like in D1, I kind of did it all, and in D2, I only played PvP. So during the droughts too. So I've had friends like teaching me the ways of the Grandmaster Nightfalls and the raid challenges more and stuff that I gave up in D1.
Yeah,
That I just kind
absolutely.
of brushed off as boring, and I can appreciate more now. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's actually a really good thing to compete around. I mean, it's good to mix it up. It really is. I gotta say, your drunken raid night stream was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Ooh. Okay.
I had it
Oh,
on while I
God.
was playing it. It was an absolute riot. I was cracking up.
Yeah, that was interesting. So we did to celebrate partner. We went back into D1 raids, and which is awesome because some of my friends, some of my closest friends on here had never played D1. So like the couple months before that, they were like on D1 grinding up, getting their characters leveled up and stuff, and trying to get some weapons. So you know, obviously we weren't sure if or when I was gonna get partnered, but that was like the idea at that time, and so we got to take them through, and they got to experience what it was like to do a D1 raid, and it was just hilarious. Like they weren't used to like not being able to not die, like like to do a hard mode raid. Like it was just so funny, and then obviously people started getting a little tipsy, so
It was pretty
um,
entertaining. I was cracking up. I had it playing. I had it playing while I was gaming, and I was just listening. I do that a lot. I like to sit and listen, and it was hilarious. I was losing it. Noise. Same question, Mr. Noise Tank himself. What brought you to this game, and what's kept you here for so long, and even in the drought periods?
It's just the PvP, man. Just the gunplay in this game. It just feels good. I don't know. I think like there's like it's such a unique shooter, right? Like the movement. Like I love movement shooters. Like I come from Gears of War. Movement in Gears of War is like huge. So like
Absolutely.
yeah, and like coming from Halo as well, the PvP, man. I mean in D1, like same thing that Nina said, like in D1 I did everything. I played PvP, I did raids, I farmed strikes for, Grasp a Malik for hours and other stuff. Like I did all that stuff. And I've been getting back more into that like recently this season, which has actually felt really good for me because I just haven't really liked the PvE in this game for like a long time, not since like Forsaken. And I mean for the dry times, I just do scrims and tournaments. That's like that carries me through the dry times.
That's what you're going to be doing for the next 2 months until the new season drops.
Oh, and well, I mean, my viewers know this. Maybe, not everybody does, of course, but I am like fashion. I care so much about the fashion in this game, so I'm doing every single activity in the game right now to acquire every armor piece to throw into my vault, just in case for transmog. If they say like, oh, it's not going to be collection based, it's going to be vault based, then I'm going to have everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that I see it all over Twitter that this gets the NoiseTank seal of approval.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's
or
like.
What is that? What are those?
Yeah. Yeah.
He still hasn't given me the approval, but I think he's got something against Bumblebee. Just saying.
Listen, I tell chat, man, they got to pay me 10,000 of my stream points in order for me to rate their guardians.
Nina's got a pretty
Maybe
awesome looking guardian too. I tried to cut it in and get a cool little announcement folder, or announcement flyer, but it didn't work out exactly how I wanted it to. So yeah,
Well, that's my fault. I forgot. I'm so sorry.
No. You're busy. I'm not even worried about it. You're here. That's all that matters. A cool flyer is cool, but you being here is 100 times better. Just throwing that out there. All right.
I'm a little intimidated now. I don't know if Jordan would rate it high, but
it's very gray and purple, light purple.
Ooh, okay. Purple, green and purple are my favorite colors. So
yeah, it looks good. It looks very good. That's why if you haven't noticed, the names are pretty similar to your stream stuff, without blurring it too much. Let's talk D1. If you could bring back any activity, not raid, activity, strikes, game modes from PvP to D2 tomorrow, what would they be? Let's start with Jordan this time.
Probably zone control. We don't have that was the only other game type that we had in scrims. We used to play Supremacy in D1, but because they changed the scoring in D2, it doesn't really work out. So we don't really have an objective game type in scrims right now. We just play Clash over and over and over again, and it's kind of pain.
Even when we're playing control, it's still Clash.
Yeah, it's just so I think having zone control would be awesome. I mean, I would like to see them do obviously another game mode, but to bring back from D1, I think zone control would be one of my top picks for sure.
That's for PvP. What would you do for PvE? I love this answer.
For PvE,
I know what I would pick immediately.
Really? Oh man, I'd have to think about it because I don't know. I feel like I have to think back to my D1 days. What is a PvE activity that I would want to see come back? I don't know. I'm trying to think of what. I mean, I guess we kind of got strike specific loot, but I feel like they kind of they haven't really focused on that too well. They haven't done strike good strike specific loot since after we got the weapon changes and random rolls back. So I guess maybe that I'd like to see. I don't know. I just want to be able to farm for a good weapon that isn't Reckoning.
Absolutely. I think mine. Well, first I want to hear Miss LastLadyLegends. What would be your favorite activity, PvE and PvP, that you'd bring back?
I would bring back skirmish, hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my second pick. That's my second PvP pick.
I miss it.
Much.
Yeah.
Skirmish and Rift were the big ones that I spent a lot of time in.
I only played skirmish. I mean, dude, before private matches, that's what we had to do was queue in a skirmish and just eval. Yep.
Yeah, skirmish was a good one. Rift was a good one. PvE wise, what would you do?
PvE wise, that's
There's so many things, and it doesn't have to be a raid. It can be a raid if you want to bring back a raid, but that's the common answer. I'm hoping we can get some uncommons that you really enjoyed playing through multiple times that you could keep playing and not get burned out on.
I would like an activity of Prison of the Elders.
Let's go.
I was one of those people. I spent 4 hours when it dropped to beat it. You know what I mean? We sat there 4 hours at Skolas or whatever.
Oh,
Yep.
Like, just, it took a long time and it took teamwork, and I want it like D1 style. I want us to be underleveled. I want us to struggle. One of my fondest memories is when the Dark Below dropped and you went into that Omnigul strike Nightfall the first
Oh, the
time,
Screaming Witch,
Oh,
and
the
you just got
poison
like
and the
wrecked.
thrall. Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think D2 players understand that feeling enough of just getting decimated, like in PvE, because you're
yeah.
underleveled and like you need to like work on a really good weapon loadout. Like you can't use the same weapon loadout all the time. Like,
Yeah, I
so
missed that
Absolutely.
from I missed Nightfalls from D1 being like that. I think that's why like a
yeah,
lot of it like fell off for me, and I just like focused way more on PvP. Like the raids, I don't know, Leviathan was okay. I liked the exploration of Leviathan, but like the encounters I thought were boring.
yeah.
Yep. 100% agree. So my answer, one, Skirmish and Rift were my two for PvP. I'd bring back if I could do it tomorrow. And two, if I could bring back any activity, it would be the Alakul Strike, the Dark Blade. That to me was the coolest strike I think Bungie's ever made. Where you're going through, all the rooms were different. You had that giant room where you had to shoot the orbs across the map, and then you drop down through the giant bridge, and you had all the thrall you could hit with the Zala's supercell. Then you drop down into the actual pit where you're fighting against Alakul and he teleports. That on hard mode was incredible to me. That right there.
You
was
remember
my jam.
doing the sword strike of
The
that
swords.
version when you
Oh,
had
yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, to kill a specific knight, right? Yeah, at the
Yeah.
same time. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And you had to time it right. That one to me. I played that one over and over and over again on hard mode, and I never got tired of it. I just enjoyed the hell out of it. That was the way it played and the way that like the communication went and the way you could just roll through each encounter. It almost felt more like a raid than a strike.
Yeah, there was a lot of. I mean, I think a lot of people have like the rose tinted glasses for D1. I think D2 is a better game now, but I just have so much fonder memories in D1 than I do of D2.
What do you think they did differently?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you think they did differently? Let's go off that. What do you think that Bungie did differently versus D1 that made it not as memorable? I guess would be a good word for it.
I mean,
Go ahead. Sorry.
no, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, and I've probably said this to my friends a lot. So if they're lurking, they're like again. But um, primaries with the burn, like they had incentive and activities, and to reach the light level you need, like you had to, if you played vanilla, you had to play hard mode with Volta Glass and hope for all level 30 drops to be the the top level, like, and it made a difference in the rest of your gameplay experience to reach that, like those little incentives, to do Volta Glass over and over again to get a Fate Bringer, like a primary with a burn,
Yeah.
and it was in trials, it was in it was in a lot of activities, like the incentive there, that, and it, you took these weapons into PvE, you took them into PvP, they made or break other experiences for the game for you. So I think that incentive is just lacking, or it's getting better now, obviously, but that was like, I think, the misstep in the beginning.
It feels more grindy than it does rewarding, is what you're saying.
It can, yeah.
Do this bounty, come back and talk to this person. Do this bounty, come back and talk to this person. Versus this specific position is open, and you can only get this weapon from this specific strike or this specific nightfall.
Yeah, I think it's the loot. Yeah, I feel like I've said this before to people, like, and they're kind of changing it a bit in Beyond Light, but like the reason why like the player population is so low in PvP is because like there's no reason, like there's no reason to play comp if you already have Unbroken. There's unless it's the beginning of a season and you're getting the powerful drops, then that's what you can do. but like there's no like I don't get like a cool shader, I don't get like an emblem, I don't like there's no IS Luna or palindrome like in the you know what I mean? Like I mean that's what kept me playing like skirmish even outside of scrims in year 3 was like I was still trying to get an IS Luna in D1 for like the longest time. I never got one by the way, but
I mean, just get an
I mean
Oscar. It's the
it's
same,
just
right?
like loot. Yeah, right. Well, RIP 140s, dude.
There's some hints about next season that we can get into.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I like I said, I love Thorn, but I have a god roll Ostringer, and it feels so good. But because it's 10 RPM less, there's no reason for me to use it, especially in a scrim setting.
Yep. There's whispers and rumors that 110s and 140s are getting love. They heard us. They are acting on it. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's keep it rolling. If you could bring back any weapon from D1, pre or post nerf, what would it be? Oh, and then I like Interlight's question after that.
Exotic or legendary or
Any. It could be an exotic. It could be a legendary. It could be an exotic that comes back as a legendary. If you didn't feel like it should have been exotic.
There's a couple.
Yeah, chat. This is an open forum. If you guys have questions, ask. Both of them are in stream, and we'll ask it after the end of one of the questions I'm asking.
I mean, definitely like. I mean, I guess we got LDR with Beloved, but I had this 1,000-yard stare that I got first week of Taken King, and it was like the perfect PvE/PvP role, and I used it from Taken King all the way until the end of the game, and it was my favorite sniper, better than any LDR or longbow synthesis that I've ever had.
Interesting.
I definitely would like to bring that back, and First Curse, but make it good, because I just love hand cannons. I love exotic hand cannons.
Yep. Agreed. Nina, what you got?
You know, I'm just really fond of like the vanilla weapons from Destiny. I guess my continuous loadout, you know, when I got these weapons was Fatebringer, Vision of Confluence, and you know, Galahorn. You know, probably go with the cliche, the Galahorn. You know, and I would take it post nerf. I still thought it was in a great place. I loved it. It was fun to use.
Blast.
Yeah. And it was so unique. It was.
Yeah. Once you figured to point completely off of the map and point it back on to hit, or point it off the map after you target somebody.
Like, you know, for somebody that hadn't played any games, you know, so this was like I had never experienced anything like that, and it was just so unique. And they didn't make any kind of like, you know, half version of it later in the game, which I liked. And then they wound up bringing it back kind of late anyway. But I just like that it was one of those things. It was excitement factors like that. You know, you talk to new people about in the game. You know, you used it in PvP, you used it in PvE if you wanted, like...
Absolutely.
You know, I think it was in a good place post-nerf, personally.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. I think it was still good.
It was in a great place.
Yeah.
It was such a fun weapon. It really was. It really
exactly.
was.
It was just so much fun and so unique. Like,
yeah, I 100% agree. I think if I could bring back any exotic, pre-nerf for the memes would have to be the Mythic Blast. As terrible as that I am for that, pre-nerf Mythic Blast completely destroyed the Crucible for a long time.
I actually had pre-nerf Mythic Blast for a day. I got it on my first VOG completion and I used it in the Crucible for a day, and it was just insane. And back then I wasn't like super good at the game, but I was destroying people.
Oh, absolutely.
It was nuts.
It was the equivalency to me as Laser Tag Weekend in D2. Those two were equal for fun, but not taking it serious. Like I wouldn't have touched comp that week. or whatever, how long before it was before it was nerfed. I wouldn't touch comp, but in quick play, it was so much fun. And I think non-exotic, I would have to go with the Haro Defiance of Yasmin sniper rifle.
Oh,
That
dude,
sniper
Defiance of aim
was
assist.
amazing. It was I loved that. I loved the scope on it. I loved the recoil on it so much more than the 1,000-yard stare. I had the God Roll 1,000-yard stare. I absolutely adored the Haro Defiance of Yasmin. It was
Dude,
my
it
PvE
had the
and
Halo
PvP.
3 sound. The
It
Halo
did.
3 sniper sound. Yep.
And the scope, the way the scope sat, and the way the gun looked itself, like I loved running around the tower and people in full trials gear and people stopping me, like jumping into my party randomly and stuff. You know, back before LFG was a thing. those were the times I spent.
It was
a
unique.
lot.
Yeah.
It really was. That's a great thing to roll into. But we got some questions, both of you. Let's start out with Mr. Anchorlight. He says, "What is your ideal loadout for Javelin 4 versus Burnout?"
It depends on the setting. I mean, I see if I'm playing scrims, like I don't snipe in scrims. I always am thorn shoddy. I mean, even like for that map. But if it's like quick play, then I usually run like Supremacy with Waking Vigil, or you know, like a sniper and a hand cannon. Usually, I think that map plays like really well. And really, you could play shoddy or snipe.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. I'm glad that Nina picked this map this week because I agree with you. Nina, what would you recommend for Jav 4 over Burnout specifically, or Jav 4 in general? What loadouts would you recommend?
You know, it's funny because I wouldn't think it's a heavy sniping map. Like I think they both have good lanes on them. You know, more so Jav 4. You would treat it as a shorter range map, but the way it plays right now, it's, you know, it's. I guess I'm giving more of a trials like perspective, but
I mean, if that's what you spend most of your time in is trials and comms,
yeah,
play it from that perspective, because that's the closest to scrims you're gonna get without weapons being banned.
True. So, I would suggest, you know, a little distance, honestly. Like, you know, I saw a lot of vigilance wings on there on trials weekend. That's, you know, that's personally, I'm not huge on pulse rifles. I make them look hard to use, but you know, I saw a lot of sniping sidearm, but yeah, a lot of distance play, honestly. Like we rush teams, and it was kind of weird. We felt like we were, you know, doing laps chasing people around the map a lot of times, like.
Yeah.
So
I had that same feeling with Burnout more than Jav, in my opinion. Burnout was a lot of that. If they pushed outside, they stayed outside.
Yeah, I mean, in a trial setting where like you know, you're not limited on what you're using, like Javelin especially, like there was a lot of like triple sniper teams I noticed. I only played one card just because it's Javelin, it's my favorite map, but we played a lot of like triple sniper teams and a lot of like runaway, you know, just play outside or like, yeah. I mean, those like the lane like from blue, like going outside to boxes or like generators, like a lot of people played like that lane, like looking at Diamond Door, or like you know, outside like boxes looking in a connector. There's a lot of snipers.
Yes,
exactly. It's a little different, you know. You wouldn't think, you know, 30 yards is the sniping lane, and it is. It's it's surprising, you know.
Yeah.
I think Pulses. I agree though. Pulses play really good on that map. Actually, I actually remember playing Trials of the 9 and just like everybody going outside to generators or where helipad is, and just Vigilance Swing and Might of Multitude.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
Paid.
What I know we know NoiseTank's favorite weapon, but Nina, what is your favorite weapon in T2? And then we'll roll back into the questions from chat.
My favorite weapon? Oh, I'm all about the thorn, the spare rations, shoddy, shoddy main.
Okay. Then you're gonna.
So I'll
Then we're
snipe
gonna
when
have
I
some
have
fun
to.
in a little bit, and when we run some scrims, because I have a feeling that's going to be most of our loadouts for this second half of the hour. There's going to be a lot of shotguns and hand cannons and a couple controller snipers, I'm sure. That's awesome. I'm pretty sure you just became NoiseTank's best friend.
Yeah, anybody that uses Thorn, we're friends, so.
Right? Yeah.
All right, so this question is more for, I'm not sure how many scrims you've gotten into, Nina, so this will be more directed towards Jordan, I'm sure. But it says, what do you do in this situation? Your team is getting crushed in a scrim game, and your teammates are falling down and getting a little toxic. What do you do? How do you bring it back?
So, I've been in this situation many a times. I mean, not as recently. Like the toxicity, thankfully, has been a lot better. But like, a lot of people like when they start to get tilted. So I'm gonna instead of like saying toxicity, I'm just gonna use tilt because it's pretty.
Agreed.
Yeah, when people are getting tilted, a lot of the times they don't slow up. And they just like they're spawning and they're going, and like they're not, like, oh, like why aren't you there? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's very, very important in a scrim setting specifically is to communicate. And actually I can myself, and we just played in a tournament last weekend, myself and my teammates, and we actually didn't do as well as we normally play, and it was because we were like completely like playing on tilt. Like we were just not in it, and like normally like we're pretty good at like shaking it, but there wasn't comms, and like what we had to do, and we started playing better near the end, was you gotta like talk more. You gotta be like, hey, like, let's slow up here, like we're down by 20, like wait a second, like we'll try to get like a full spawn, because like in scrims like split spawning is pretty huge.
Yep.
And it's like really important to try to meet up with your teammates, especially. And if you're playing too fast, or if like they're playing like a defensive game, and they're just every single engagement, this like slow engagement, you guys are getting run over, then like pick different angles, or play a little bit more aggressive. Or if you're playing too passive and they're playing more aggressive, like you got to play off of picks, and it's like really, really important that you're just like communicating, like, hey, I'm fighting on right, like, for example, like if we were on Javelin, right, and we were outside a helipad, like we spawned a helipad, and like connector is usually a pretty big spot there, like you have your sniper on boxes, like looking into connector, and the two shotgunners are most likely going to be like right close door, like close to connector. Then just call out like where you're shooting. If their sniper's on the right, like, hey, sniper's on right, like I'm looking left, like I'm shooting somebody left, like, oh, he's one tapped or he's two tapped. It's so important to be vocal, not like calling out when you're dead, like, oh, I died, like that's not a good call out. Like, talk about like
that killed you.
Yeah, like where is he, how low is is he weak, like did you two tap him? To normally, like I'll say like I one tapped or two tapped, and that's just like say I got a headshot with a hand cannon, is like for my team, like they know that's what I mean. But
yeah,
slowing it down is important.
Absolutely.
Because people tilt and they just hold W when they start tilting. you gotta slow it down, just be like, hey, like we can bring this back, we gotta slow up, like let's wait for so and so to spawn up, let's what are we doing? We're not calling out enough, or we're not team shotting enough. What can we do?
Sure. So let's flip the script a little bit. Nina, how would you do that same question, not in a scrim setting, but more, or a faceit setting, but more of a trials or comp setting?
Same thing. I haven't done a ton of scrims. I've been getting into them on PC just lately, but a lot of our time goes to trials. I was just playing with Joey this weekend, and it just so happened like we only ran like I think like 3 people on Sunday, but all 3 were virgins, so we're giving them the full reset. If we lost on the lighthouse, we were going again, and that's a big thing. What Jordan was saying, we kind of we both know we can like go out and get a pick, and so we kind of slowed it down more and try to wait for that safer play a lot of times. Like,
So
you
we
know,
just got some clarification on it. The question it was a little bit more phrased. It's how would you go about motivating a team in a losing situation to better their mentality, attitude, and performance? So we'll keep it going with Nina, and then we'll roll back.
Oh, okay. Motivate it. I try to stay pretty positive, and I try to just say, let's focus on communication. I think that's a huge one that so many times, you know, you get focused on kind of like, you know, the cheese, like, oh, they're, you know, like this happens to me a lot. I'm like, oh, wow, they went down one round and now they're sword peeking the whole time. Like,
Yep.
and, you know, I try to like not say that again. Like I'll say, you know, I'll slip kind of once and I'm like, I can't do that because that can't be the focus. You know, we have to just keep regular communication and, you know, call out the good things. Like, you know, try to, even if people are trading, you know what I mean, try to call that out, you know, and take it for the positive that it is, that we still got a pick and we can still, you know, use this to our advantage.
Absolutely. That's where it's at. It's all about energy. It really is. And not raging energy, because I find that if I'm doing a help or anything like that, I don't like to call them carries. But if I'm doing help or anything like that, I find that if I start getting tilted, they get tilted, and then mistakes happen. And people are throwing lives, charging in. So, Jordan, what you got? What do you do in like a face it or scrim setting to keep your team motivated when the chips are up and you're looking at the end of the match and you're trying to get that last win and it's close?
Yeah, I mean, definitely like you know, Nina was saying, like when somebody gets like a trade and they're like, oh, I died. I'm like, no, like, dude, you like, especially in a super close match like that. I'm like, dude, that's good. That's, you know, like, oh, trade is good. That's good. Or if, you know, if somebody gets like, they get one, I do this a lot. Like when I'm playing with, especially like, you know, with close teammates, like when they're like, oh, I got one. I'm like, let's go. Like I like hype it up, and like I'm very like, and I'm very animated and I'm very vocal, especially in like a setting like that. And I mean, if we're like, I mean, even if we start off in early game and we're up by 10 or 15, like I'm hyping it up, man. Like, yo, I got two. Like, you know, he's weak on me. Like always like talking, always just like trying to keep it like positive. It can happen when you do get tilted, and it's like we can win this. Like, you know, we started off like at the beginning of this match, like, you know, we were up by 10, up by 15, like, you know, like, let's celebrate. Yeah, I mean, literally what Anchor just put in the chat. Like, yeah, celebrating like small victories is really good for motivation. And I noticed like people like, you know, they play a little bit better, like ever so slightly. It's like the small thing. They play confident actually because of, you know, like when you're hyping them up, like confidence is really, really good, especially like in a scrim setting or in like a tournament or, you know,
For sure.
game 7, you know, trials, right? Like, you know, that confidence it's good. And just talk them up, talk the team up when they get a double down. You know, they're trading. When somebody, you know, their team's pushing with a super and you trade with the super, like that's good. That's a win.
Absolutely. The next question was from Just for Bad Gamers. He says he's interested in the skill-based matchmaking versus connection-based matchmaking. What do you prefer and why? Let's start with Noise.
I absolutely prefer connection-based matchmaking. However, I think there needs to be, and this kind of plays into the playlist issue, the player base is lower, therefore, you know, when skill-based matchmaking is implemented, I'm literally just playing everybody on my friends list, and that's like really frustrating. But that's because like I can't go into quick play with my friends who don't play at my level. Like I can't, like I have like many, friends or viewers that like aren't on like like the same, they don't play in a scrim setting all the time. Like they're not trials like Sherpas or anything like that. And when it's skill based and I can't just go into like quick play with them and play and not like play other 1% players, like it's frustrating. And it's they like feel bad and I'm like, no dude, don't feel bad. Like they're like, I'm doing so bad. I'm like, no, it's fine. Like you're not used to play. Yeah, like this is it. This isn't like, and they can't. I think there's like when you're learning, it's important to get like you're gonna lose, you're gonna get stomped, and I think that's an important thing. But like, if we end up playing like a 4 stack of top 1% players, and it's me and 3 of my viewers, like they're not gonna have a good time. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have a good time. Like I think if comp had like actual good rewards, then the sweaty players would go and play comp. If we had skirmish, we would be in there, and quick play would be, we could have connection based quick play and that would be fine, and we could have skill based comp because that's what it's there for. That's how it should be. Comp should be based off of your skill. I think there's a good like balance of having both. I prefer connection based if I'm playing quick play. If I'm playing comp, then skill based is fine, but don't put skill based in quick play.
So kind of.
I don't want to play the world finals. Yeah,
like
it's pretty good right now. Yeah, it's pretty good right now. I think there's still like lobby balancing, but I don't really play sixes anymore. Like literally the only time I'm playing sixes now is usually when it's Iron Banner. And I think I think they're finally fixing that by doing the freelance, because I just run 6-stack in Iron Banner and we just play solos, and that's so like I don't want that. Like I want to play other 6-stacks. Like that's the point of me squadding up with the homies and trying to stomp other 6-stacks, not stomp solos.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Nina, same question.
Very much agreed. I think skill-based matchmaking can be good in the right, situations. Like if they brought skirmish back, I would want skill-based matchmaking, just because that's my experience in D1 of where I went into to practice by myself all the time. I went into trials too with like randoms, friends that weren't very good at the game. But trials is a little weird because you have to reset, after you lose and stuff. And so I liked skirmish a lot because, you're playing people above you, below you, whatever, and it really taught me map rotation, spawns, like things that I didn't think of. Like my mind never, went there from never playing an FPS, like really. So
Absolutely.
I do think quick play should, stay connection-based matchmaking. And I think they actually need to kind of step up their connection-based matchmaking too. I feel like they say it's implemented, but I mean, we all see the latency and the lag in the game like pretty regularly.
Hard agree.
Say Bungie thinks on connection-based that I live in Tokyo, so.
Exactly.
Maybe that's the ecosystem, but I definitely match at least 3 people with the connection of Taco Bell's Wi-Fi on a bad night. So...
Yeah. It's I can't play the Time Lords. I can't do it. There's just the Vex Time Lords in quick play. They're scary.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah. Like, so I know people. I guess people complain that was a thing in D1 that queues were long or something, but I honestly I don't know, a 90-second queue is not that long in my eye. So if that gives me good connections, I'll wait 90 seconds in between games. So
I mean, people don't remember the WoW days back when you sat in a dungeon queue for 5 to 10 minutes and you were running around in circles until it queued up and then you clicked.
Oh wow.
Or like Face It's the same way. You'll start a Face It match and then you'll sit there and you'll run around and you'll run around and you'll run around and all of a sudden it's like, hey, we're ready to go. And you click in and you're off and running.
So back in the BNet days, I actually used to run. I wasn't like streaming then, but I did like recovs a lot with friends. I had a lot of friends like in our our clan that did recov, so I would help them a lot. And I think people forget the season 3, season 4 2-hour comp queue times. Literally, we would just play Scriblio in between matches for hours because like the queues were just awful and nobody was in the playlist. Like, oh, it was pain.
Yep, exactly,
Yeah, that,
exactly.
that was rough. That was literally you had an error code for just not queuing.
Yeah.
That's like,
oh
I
yeah.
get
I
lost.
can't
You've
remember.
been in
Yes
order for too long.
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah. Mongoose, I think is what it was. Oh.
Yep.
Yeah. It was like.
It's amazing that you remember the errors.
Yeah.
That should
Oh,
tell
it was
you
awful.
something.
Like,
All right. Well, the next question was from Inspirational. He's flipping the script now, and he says, "Let's say your team is winning in a game, and the other team starts making a hard comeback, and they start winning. What do you do to make the game reversed so your team starts winning again?" Backstory on Inspirational: he plays a lot of Face It, so he's very excited to hear how everybody else
Yeah,
handles
I've
the
actually
fireside situations.
I've seen him in there.
Yes, he's a very good Face It player. If nobody jumps in that wants to learn scrims, he will probably be one of the ones that jumps in with us. Just because he likes to see everybody else's playstyles. So, what would you do to bring it back? How do you stop the momentum from building after they started climbing a bit ago?
Same thing. You slow it down. Slow it down again. If you're at a decent lead, like what most scrims go up to 50. So let's say you're winning like 40 to 20, or you're close there, and they start bringing it back. They go on like let's say like a 10-2 run or something. Same thing. Just I slow it down. A lot of times the tilt's coming out again. I try to focus on the communication. I'll even start to doing that, like 7 kills. We got this. 7 kills. Like, if I notice that they're doing one particular thing that's kind of, whether it's out team shooting us or, somebody's just going on a flank by themselves, I'll try to point out the one thing that I think that, they changed up that seems to be, working on us. And, hopefully try to make an adjustment there sooner than later.
Absolutely. Jordan, same question.
Yeah, I see Inspirational is asking like, what do you mean by slowing it down? I get kind of confused. So usually what that means is like, I mean, this game is very like methodical, and it's like this like swinging back and forth, right? So you're playing really aggressive. You're push.
Hold up. You're telling me that you can't just hold W and win?
Exactly. Right. So,
a couple melee titans that would disagree with you.
Cool Cheese 101.
Yeah, Zero in chat is notorious
boy.
for nothing but melees. If we 1v1, he has maybe 3 weapon kills, and the other 22 are melees.
Yeah. Yeah, so like when we mean like slow it down, it's like usually it's like especially if a team starts coming back, right? Like if we're just gunning them, right? We're W key and we're winning those engagements, and then they kind of figure out what we're doing. Like then like slowing it down is like like let's say we get team wiped and we split spawn. Like let's all try to, before you even take another fight, a 2v3 fight, like meet up with, let's get so-and-so back with us. Like, oh, like if we're playing Endless Veil is notorious for split spawning, right? So like, oh, like I'll meet you in Toilet. Like Toilet, by the way, is like, I'm sure some people might know, like, or they don't know. It's, that drop down on B point, right? Or across from B. So like, oh, like let's wrap and meet on Toilet. Like, or let's try to get back together. Well, we're gonna wait for the sniper to get a pick, right? Like, or a body shot or whatever, and let's team it, or slow it down, bring the pace back in. That's usually like what that means. At least like for me, I'm sure Nina has like a very similar. We're playing too aggressive or whatever. But if we're up and a team starts
Adapt and change.
creeping up on us, a huge thing a huge like, and this is like a tilt check for a lot of people, is like shutting down supers, right? So obviously people will be like, oh, like you don't want to challenge a super, but like in a 3 setting, especially if you're like taking a stand with a team depending on the super, like you know, like I will call this out, especially against, you know, like a striker titan or like a Dawn. Like I'll wait for the sniper to be like, I body shot him, or he's body shot, or I headshot him because since 90s got nerfed and can't one shot supers anymore.
Right.
Things like that. Like I'll be like, hey, I'm with you. I'm turning. I'm looking at this. Like we can fight this here. Like that's a huge thing. Like shutting down a super is a good tilt check against another team.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean there's so much like.
Well, let's be real too.
There's so
Shutting
much
down
in
a
this game.
super is a huge ego boost. It really is. Especially if you don't waste a super to do it. If you can shut down a super without wasting one, that's one of those things where it's like it could change the attitude of the momentum, really. It would build, if you shut down a super, say you have a striker titan that's pushing in, and you all turn and you take him out without getting a single death, then you have your super to still utilize for the team and potentially flip the momentum back to your speed. Is that what you're saying a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's a huge thing, is like there, like, I mean, especially like, for me, like since I play Chaos Reach, like I have the lowest amount of armor reduction in super besides Golden Gun. Golden Gun has 0, Chaos Reach has 40%. So a lot of the times people kind of, it's kind of a bit of a meme across some of my friends, some fellow other Destiny content creators. I solo super people a lot in scrims. A lot.
I hate going against you in scrims. Because I'm like, oh, he's got his Chaos Reach. We wiped all 3 of us, he's still got half of it.
Yeah, like, and so a lot of the times, like, and the thing with Chaos Reach specifically is it creates an orb with only one kill, where a lot of supers a lot of roamings, you only create orbs on 2 kills, and it creates a large orb. So a lot of the time, like, I'll get it up before anybody usually, just because of the ionic traces. And this first person I see is getting burned. Like they're getting beamed. And then that makes an orb, so we're up already on supers usually. Like that's like one of the benefits of Chaos Reach is I have all my cooldowns up all the time. Like my cooldowns are always up, and I get super usually first. And if I'm burning somebody and making an orb, and then now my Dawn Blade or my Spectral Blades like is up before their enemy team, like that's huge. And as part of the game as supers are huge, especially in trials, and especially in a scrim setting. Like supers weigh a lot. They come down to a close game, they come down to the wire, like in the end, like they have a super and we don't. Like they need 3 kills, we need 2 kills. It's hard, it's a huge thing. Supers they play a huge factor in the game.
Absolutely. One more question from chat, and I got one to end it, and then we'll jump into the practical portion. We'll teach some cheeky little spots on Jab, and then we'll run some scrims. It's kind of what I'm thinking. First, I got to say hi to Mac, because he is in here and he says hello. I didn't want to interrupt anybody.
Mac.
Yeah.
Hi, Mac. Sorry,
Mac's
I talk a lot.
No, you're good. What mistakes do you look for to turn momentum around or exploit to keep a lead? Let's start with Nina.
If we have a lead, or you mean?
Yeah. So the 2 questions are, well, it was kind of a 2-part question. It says, what are mistakes you look for? So what is a mistake that you see, that you catch, that gives you the opportunity to push or take advantage of a situation or something along those lines, or exploit to build your lead or keep it and continue it going?
I typically look for that person pushing alone. that's if we have the lead, or if we're down and it's a close one, I look for that person that's challenging alone, and I'll try to kind of see their behavior and kind of signal them out as that person that keeps pushing alone, so we can and I'll be calling it out to my teammate the whole time, so the next time they do it, we're gonna get that pick. Another one is, and this might be a little cheesy, but we do it in trials every now and then, is kind of like teaming abilities. So a lot of times people throw their melees out there. I see it with Top Tree Dawns and stuff a lot. They just hope to get tags, or they throw their arc bolt as a hunter, just hoping to get a tag on somebody, and then your nade's just gone. You did a little damage, they're getting their health back, and nothing came of it. So
Yeah, capitalize
I'll,
on the previous damage.
yeah, exactly. I'll call out to, like, let's save your nade, like, hold on, and we'll push this one together, and he'll be, he'll be kind of surprised, but and it's kind of cheesy, but it works. It's one of those momentum things. So
I mean, that's huge. That is, it's capitalizing on the previous damage, and especially in this meta and the way that Dawnblade is set up, and the way that Spectral Blade is set up, where you can drop the Wombo combo. Let's be real. The Wombo combo is such a broken combination. It is the equivalency. Like, Titans doesn't really have that kind of thing, but I mean, for hunters, it's the Wombo combo. For warlocks, it's the the Celestial Fire and followed up by the Burning Nade. Those two can usually wipe 1 or 2 plus, and then warlocks also have the Arc Whip, which, if you're playing in a scrim setting, a lot of people like to play shoulder to shoulder. Same with trials or comp, is they'll play shoulder to shoulder, and you can get that chain to bounce back and forth until it takes out the whole team.
yeah, very true, very true.
Jordan, same question for you.
Kind of the same thing. I mean, if they're sticking together as a team, then, like, I'll call out. I'll be like, I have my nade, because Storm Grenade does so much damage. So a lot of the time, like, if a team is playing together, right? If they're stacking a lot, then I'll call that out. I'll be like, I'll have my nade, and then I'll be like, I have a Wombo kind of like Chaos Reach kind of has a Wombo, especially for people who like to play in rifts. Throwing a Storm Grenade and then throwing my melee, it does, I mean, the two of them together does like 290 damage or something ridiculous like that. So we'll do that a lot. And then if there's a couple of snipers that I play with that are very, very good, and when they get a pick on somebody, like, if they get a pick on their sniper, if we know that an enemy team sniper is down, like, that's when we play aggressive, so our sniper can grab an angle. And that's, like, a really, really big thing in scrims too, is, like, knowing when the enemy's team sniper is down, because a lot of scrims is playing off of sniper picks and knowing, like, where they are, because snipers have such high burst damage, and then also being able to know like, one shot across map or whatever. So that's, like, a huge thing. And then, knowing if somebody's playing, like, really aggressive, or, like, he always pushes this angle, like, or he or she pushes this angle, or they keep playing middle here, like, every time we spawn up and we're split, they're always sending somebody right. Like, just paying attention and, like, being mindful of your enemy's positioning and your positioning, like, in certain scenarios, is, like, huge.
Absolutely. Final question. Because both of you are pretty much masters at your respective classes, what stat ratios do you recommend for Hunter? What stat ratios do you recommend for Warlock? Let's get into the nitty-gritty. How do you build to be able to sustain in a competitive sense?
Depends, what class you're playing. Scrims are, they're locked, obviously, with, I believe, 50 across the board, so.
That's just specific trial or specific tournaments. There's a lot of scrims aren't locked.
Really?
Scrims, yeah, a lot of the scrim rules, and we have them saved from Face It. That's kind of what we play off of, is last season's
Okay.
Face It rules. They're only
Yeah, Face
capped
It just
in
opened up
tourneys.
now, even more. Yeah.
Yep.
Tourneys is usually 7 grenades, 7 strength, 5 intellect is usually the cap.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So they upped them to 7. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it used to be, even back in D1, I think they used to be capped as well to like 6.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
6
was
and
like
5.
5 or 6 across the board there. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
So let's
I
think
mean-
on non-capped scrims. What would you build to be able to sustain in a competitive movement? Whether it's tournaments or scrims or trials or comp, what do you look for? How do you build? We'll start with the hunter.
Recovery, absolutely. 100 recovery. You know, it's, as they say, the cracked recovery is, I think, the biggest one. You could get away with a little less mobility to make that sacrifice for recovery. Especially on PC, it's a little different. You could get away with even less mobility, I feel. Then, depending on the class I'm running, so if it's, let me see, if it's, if I'm running Goldie, I'll focus on the throwing knives. I'll put more in there versus the nades. If I'm running Spectral, I usually go smokes versus the nades again.
For the stun
Blade
factor?
Dance is probably, yeah. Blade Dance is probably the only one I would go, maybe nades over strength. But
Interesting. What nade do you run usually if you're on solar versus?
I run spike nades majority of the time.
Okay.
Some scrims I will do the void walls if they're all grouped together a lot of times, depending if you're playing a lot more warlocks now, in scrims. You're playing a lot of I feel like we used to be
Yeah.
2 teams of hunters, and now it's a lot of 2 teams of warlocks there. So they're grouped up in rifts quite often. So
Yes, ma'am.
yeah. So I'll run the void walls for them, I'll even run skip nades to try to get them moving a little bit, sometimes out of it.
Absolutely.
On Blade Dance,
Absolutely, it makes sense. I mean, we are seeing a lot more warlocks lately, and hopefully we can start seeing a lot more titans. Let's be real.
it's because you can't
Yes,
use
they
all
need
their
a
burp and
movement
exotics.
buff.
like,
Yeah, they need
Yeah.
a movement buff so bad.
I mean, dunes aren't banned, which is insane to me. That
Yeah.
to me is just absolutely insane. I mean, you can punch somebody and it will chain the entire team around the wall through a box
20 meters.
in orbit.
from their ghosts.
Yeah.
They could be
Yeah,
dead, and you're
and their
still
dead
chaining them.
bodies, and
Yeah.
there's a bug where you can get double and triple tags.
Mhm.
It's kind
Yeah.
of silly.
Especially on PC. That was one of the things that I realized when I switched to PC was I always thought the double damage glitch was a joke. And I was like,
Oh,
no,
dude.
you just got outplayed. No, I've been 1-tap, 2-tap by Dyers. I've been 1-tap, 2-tapped by the most random loadouts. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, okay, I believe
Yeah.
it. Cold Denial, 1-tap to the head. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Double
Jordan.
damage glitch is so annoying.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk Warlock. What do you run for Warlock? What grenades do you like the most? What stats do you like to break out to, especially in the scrim scene?
Yeah, definitely. I can also talk about Top Tree Dawn too, just because nobody
Sure.
uses Chaos Reach. But
Well, it's
yeah,
kinda cool to
I'd-
learn something different. I mean, everybody uses, top treat. That's the most common.
yeah, you don't even need to stack for strength because all you got to do is just jump and kill somebody with your melee, and you get half of it back easy.
Exactly.
Yeah, so 100, 10 recovery, 6 resilience is my go-to on every single character. And the reason why I run 6 resilience is you can live Thorn 2 head 1 body without perk, and you can live Thorn with perk 2 to the head. You can live Empowering Rift with 72 RPM snipers. You can live shotguns take 1 extra pellets. There's a bunch of stuff. So I recommend 6 resilience to a lot of people if you can do it. But then if you can't make 6, then 4 is the other one. 4 is for the extra shotgun pellet. But yeah, and then I run high discipline, and a lot of people I don't know why a lot of people don't actually know this, but like you actually want lower mobility on Warlock because of Warlock surfing. So the way the burst glide works is with mobility, your single jump, like your first jump before you tap it again.
Yep.
Mobility controls the jump height of that. So the lower your mobility, the lower that jump is. And with Warlock surfing, you jump, and when you get to the peak of that first jump, you burst again, and it like boosts your character into the ground. So the lower mobility you have, the shorter that jump is, so you can get to the ground quicker and then jump again. It's like this like triangle movement basically. It's like triangle jumping for people who've played fighters.
Yep.
But so if you're running transversive steps and you have low mobility, it's perfect because you get faster sprint with T steps and a longer slide distance, and then you can do the Warlock surf because you have lower mobility. And you'll get the extra strafe speed with T steps as well, so you don't have to worry about having lower mobility. So I run 3 mobility on my build is like
3,
6, 10, yeah, 3, 6, 10, and then I have 7 discipline and 5. Actually, I think I have like the perfect scrim setup for me personally. I think I have 3, 6, 10, 7, 5, 7. I'm pretty sure because Radiant Light and Powerful Friends isn't banned because they don't stack anymore. Like they don't multiply anymore. So I run the Radiant Light, which is the strength one. I run that on my bond.
I have that on my. I have Radiant Light and Powerful Friends on my Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter is definitely you want higher mobility for sure, because your dodge is broken. Not really, but bottom tree arc dodge is really good.
Yes,
It's really good.
It is for sure. It very much is. I actually I avoid arc. I avoid arc stuff. I'm not a big fan. I don't know what it is. It just feels too easy for me. I say that as I run Spectral Blades. But I have found on PC a lot of the time Spectral Blades whiffs more often than not.
Yep.
When you do light heavy, you'll push somebody more than you'll kill them. Specifically on PC, I've figured that out.
It's so weird.
Very
man.
weird.
Sometimes you get mapped by the left click, and then other times you hit somebody with your right click 12 times, and then they don't die, and then they chalk and melee you.
absolutely, and it's a very strange one, especially on PC. That I'm not sure if it's a connection issue or.
A lot of it is frame rate. They have so many things tied to frame rate on PC. It's so weird. They're like finding out that like there's been recent testing about aim assist being tied to frame rate, and it's just pain. Yeah, it's a newer thing that Mercules and them have been looking into.
I mean, I'm one of those horrible types. I am a controller player on PC.
No, you're not horrible. I feel like we need to. I've been trying to do my like. I used to be like that. I used to be like, man, controller sniping is so dumb, blah blah blah. But
Yep.
I have so many friends now that are controller snipers, and they've just like I mean you obviously included, but like you Schlumped. I'm becoming really good friends with Drewski, and like just learning all the different intricacies. Like
We have to
not your guys' fault.
The movement is really what it is. It's
yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So Nina, you've dove into PC. How do you feel about? I know we're running a little over on time right now. How do you feel about controllers on PC versus M&K? Are you M&K elitist? Have you plugged in your sticks and tested it out on PC yet?
When I've played scrims, I've played controller. I
Okay.
have played M&K like on my own and gone into Crucible. And I mean, I don't know. I feel like M&K is such an advantage. I can understand.
Oh, it absolutely
because-
does. 100% it does. I'm 100% agreed with you. It absolutely does.
I can understand the you know, the scrims where you're holding a lane a lot of times, or you know what I mean, you're not moving as much. I can understand that, like the aim assist could be annoying. Um, but you know, like the skill ceiling is just so much higher in M&K. Like, I wish I had more
Absolutely.
time to put in M&K just to get better at it. Honestly, uh, you know, I play 10 cents with traction on console, so when I go to PC and I plug in my controller, I feel slow.
Yep.
I feel like everybody's light years ahead of me, and I'm like, you know, I feel at a disadvantage personally. Like, uh,
That's
Yeah,
actually an
it's a
interesting
different play
take.
style.
It really
Yeah,
is.
because you can't play like controllers can't really play like that aggressive on PC because of mouse and keyboard, because of the way like I mean I can slide a lane and immediately slide back into cover like in a half of a second, especially with like T steps and with the right movement. Like you can't,
yeah,
you just can't do that on controller. You just physically cannot. The game doesn't turn you quick enough to do that.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that Drewski said too, and I want to touch base on is the whole controller versus M&K. There are pros and cons to each. Yes, controller has aim assist. However, if you're in a shotgun battle and you need to snap up to hit somebody that jumps above you, it's not going to happen. It's really not in high level anyway, where you're going to try and snap up to hit someone and you're going to move so slowly that they've already passed over you, flick down, and move on to the next target. But
Yeah.
exactly,
the
exactly.
the other side of the spectrum on that is if you're on controller and you're sniping or you understand your lanes and aim assist, bullet magnetism, and all that, um, the focus is easier on the recoil on controller, I guess, minus when you get flinched. Because I've tried both of them, and I got to say that you get flinched a lot harder on controller than you do on M&K. However, the aim assist on it is so much higher that you get flinched off a headshot, your second shot, you're back on it.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I've like dropped the complaint towards controllers because I mean we're playing Destiny, like Revoker shoots cinder blocks no matter what input you're using. So
Yep.
Yeah,
like
Yep.
I mean you can shoot a hand cannon like off to the right of somebody's head whether you're on controller or M&K and you're still going to shoot them in the head because that's just how the hitboxes work in this game. Like there's more bullet magnetism, like sorry, the bullet magnetism is the same on controller as is M&K. There's just slightly more aim assist. Well, I shouldn't say slightly. It's a decent amount more aim assist on controller, but it's like we all get bullet magnetism. That's just how the
Yep.
game is. Like doesn't matter your input. That's just how it is. And
Absolutely.
I think a lot more people are getting better at it. Like
I'm seeing a big trend change recently of less of the elitist attitude of, you know, M&K is better or controller is better, and this is why. So it's good to see. The way I see it is we don't want to limit any reason for people to not play this game anymore. We want the
Exactly.
ecosystem to be here. We
absolutely.
want to be able to, I mean, Bungie wants people to be able to handle both sides of the spectrum as well. That way, the ecosystem's bigger, you know, whether you're using M&K, whether you're using controller, we want the ecosystem to be here so that there's more people to play with and against. So I think hating on one side or the other is just a bad, it's a bad way to run about it. But let's jump into the practical. Let's fire up our PCs. Let's get into some Jab 4. Let's show off some glitch spots. If you guys need to take a break, we're gonna go on a BRB. Chat, if you have any questions for our two guests, go ahead and ask. I am going to be right back as I'm firing the PC up and closing out the two VODs that we've been running. And then if anyone wants to join in, we're gonna run some teaching first. If there is nobody that wants to be taught, we'll pull in some Scrim players and we'll run some high levels and make callouts.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Sounds good.